Hello, I am George Bernard Shaw, a playwright, critic, and philosopher. My work often explored the complexities of human relationships, society, and morality. Today, I want to share a thought with you, one that speaks to the delicate balance between love, sacrifice, and resentment. If you begin by sacrificing yourself to those you love, you will end by hating those to whom you have sacrificed yourself. When I first said this, it was a reflection on the dangers of self-abandonment in the name of devotion. Sacrifice, when taken to an extreme, often leads to unintended consequences, bitterness, resentment, and even alienation. Love, at its best, is a partnership between equals, not a one-sided surrender. Yet, in many relationships, personal identity and self-care are sacrificed on the altar of duty and obligation. Now, let us consider how this idea applies to your world today. In the age of constant connectivity, endless demands, and societal expectations, the idea of sacrifice has taken on new forms. People sacrifice their time, energy, and even mental health to meet the needs of others, whether it's their family, their workplace, or even their political ideologies. While these sacrifices often begin with good intentions, the lack of balance can lead to burnout and resentment, just as I warned. Look at the dynamics in your workplaces. Employees overwork themselves for companies that demand loyalty, yet often fail to reciprocate it. This cycle of sacrifice, without acknowledgement or reward, breeds disillusionment. The result? Quiet quitting, growing dissatisfaction, and a disconnect between employers and employees. Now consider politics. Many citizens make sacrifices for movements or ideologies they deeply believe in, devoting time, money, and passion. But when those movements fail to deliver or reveal themselves as self-serving, bitterness sets in. People feel betrayed, as though their sacrifices were in vain. Even in personal relationships, this truth remains. Parents who give up their dreams for their children often project their unfulfilled desires onto those children. Spouses who always compromise without being heard may begin to resent their partners. This cycle of unbalanced sacrifice ultimately harms the very relationships it was meant to strengthen. So, what's the solution? It's not to reject sacrifice altogether. Sacrifice is often necessary and noble. But it must be tempered with self-respect, boundaries, and mutual understanding. True love, whether for people, causes, or communities, does not ask you to erase yourself. Instead, it asks for balance, collaboration, and the preservation of your identity. In today's world, this balance is more critical than ever. With so many demands on your attention and energy, learning when to say no and when to prioritize yourself is an act of strength, not selfishness. Sacrifice should be a gift, not a burden, and certainly not a source of resentment. Remember, the modern era is rife with forces that exploit your willingness to give, whether it's corporations, political leaders, or even misinformation campaigns. They thrive on your sacrifices while giving little in return. Recognize this dynamic and choose carefully where you invest your energy. For more insights into how these ideas play out in today's information-driven world, visit information-warfare.com. The more aware we are of the systems and dynamics that demand our sacrifices, the more empowered we are to make choices that preserve both our humanity and our integrity.